Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Welcome to the show where we chat, argue, and wax poetic about everything we love in movies and the news that comes with it. This is Insider Chatter. I'm Mike, the novice cinephile. Joining me, of course, is Nate Richard. He knows movies. Nate, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing just good. I watched Hot Rod for the first time last night, and that is now my new favorite movie. So,
as someone who's never seen Hot Rod, what's your elevator pitch? Why should I watch this movie?
It's Andy Samberg playing a aspiring stuntman, and he's terrible at it. Also, Bill Hader.
You know, that's the simplest pitch, but it was so effective.
I forgot your biggest selling point. Isla Fisher has never looked hotter in a movie.
All right, so I'm watching Hot Rod tomorrow.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fun one. I watched Superman versus the Elite.
Nice.
Really fun movie. You guys should check it out. We're actually reviewing that live on Monday. So if you guys are watching this video as it comes out tonight, we're going to be reviewing it live with the crew for the Chatter After and Mario Francisco Robles from Superman on Film. It's a really fun adaptation of this iconic Superman story. What's so funny about truth, justice, and the American way? And it's basically Superman having to come to grips with a world that doesn't need him anymore. It feels like they don't need his traditional, like, heroic values. He's fighting edgelords, essentially, where it's like the boys in Homelander, where it's like, hey, we don't need your kindness, right? We don't need you saving the day. We're just going to kill the villains. And Superman has to kind of combat that. And it's a really good Superman movie, kind of reminding you why the character stood the test of time. I don't know if this serves as inspiration for Superman 2025. Some people think that's why we have the corporate justice gang with like Maxwell Lord and his crew. So we'll see. But even if it has nothing to do with Superman 2025, movie's phenomenal. Go check it out.
When did it come out? Because I'm behind on the DC animated movies.
Oh, Superman versus the Elite. I'm going to get that for you. 2012. This is not a new movie. Yeah. It's a very old issue of Action Comics, which again shows how Superman has stood the test of time, because if they're saying his morals were outdated then, that's crazy to think about. But yeah, it's a really great film. One of the best comics ever.
While you're recording that podcast live, I will be zooming in a race car with Brad Pitt, seeing F1 early.
Ooh, you gotta tell us next week how you feel about F1.
Yeah. I absolutely will. I am stoked because it's Joseph Kosinski who did Top Gun Maverick. So I'm like, if he could do the same with race cars, I am down. I know nothing about Formula One racing. I just know cars go fast.
Cars go vroom.
I don't think they're as cool as jet planes, but I think they're still pretty dope because they go fast.
Is Brad Pitt as cool as Tom Cruise, though? That's the big question.
No.
So we'll see. But yeah, I'm so excited for F1. So you really got to tell us. Are you seeing it in a special format for your screening, or?
I would assume so. My invite didn't specify. But it is at the theater whenever they do a press screening for like a big blockbuster. They usually put it in IMAX or Dolby. But this is like Warner Brothers has not done a exclusive like critic screening in Indianapolis since I want to say Elvis. They did a couple screenings they did like 3 screenings of The Flash, but those were like public. And I've told that story so many times before, and I won't tell it again just to spare you.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Warner Brothers and early screenings, Superman gets an advanced screening from Prime Video. Did you snag tickets to the showings on the 8th?
No.
Is it because they all sold out?
Okay, that's my thing. So I was initially going to, because I do have Amazon Prime. I know it's through Amazon. And I was like, okay, sick. I'll do that. The IMAX theater that's right down the road from me, that's the only theater in that AMC that doesn't have reclining seats. It's all these really uncomfortable seats. And
Yeah.
so I can't use A-list, so it would be $18, and all the good seats were already taken within like 10 minutes. So I'm like, I'm not getting a side seat. Recliners is different. Like, recliners, I could move it around, and I'm like, good view. But no.
Yeah, no. The AMC here, we only have one AMC in my city, and it's the exact same way, where there's no recliners or anything. And it's like, why would I do this? Yeah. Thankfully, I have Marcus Theaters here that had it in like their ultra screen, so I got tickets there. But yeah, Superman tickets went on sale, and not only did they go on sale with this prime screening, it passed for Fantastic Four. If you guys remember, last week we were talking about how Fantastic Four had the biggest first day ticket sales of the year. It crushed it. It crashed Fandango. And then we got the final trailer for Superman. First off, we're going to get to the trailer in a second. Are you surprised that it broke Fantastic Four's record?
Not really, no. I'm just waiting to see if Smurfs, the other big July release.
You and Smurfs, man. This is just going to be a running bit.
Not Jurassic, Smurfs. That's going to be the big grosser of July. But I will say I did get tickets for Thursday in IMAX at the Indiana State Museum, which is one of the 10 biggest IMAX screens in the country. So I'm seeing it good, making up for not seeing it Tuesday.
Heck yeah. Did this trailer do anything for you? I know we talked about this offline. This is much more like the Marvel style trailer where it's like, there's a big bad and Superman's got to stop him. But I mean, it's still sick. It's still a phenomenal trailer.
I remember when you asked me what I thought, I was like, oh, I thought it rocked. But then I kind of rewatched it and I'm like, I still think it looks great. It looks better than a lot of modern superhero trailers to me, but I think it's the weakest of the three. And I think exactly what you said. It feels like a standard kind of superhero movie. I saw there's already been like discourse about it, about like the little spurts of humor, which I didn't even think were that heavy. I mean, if you remember the infamous Doomsday trailer for Batman v Superman.
Yeah, that scarred me for life. I definitely remember the Doomsday trailer.
But remember, the closing line was a joke. It was, "Is she with you? I thought she was with you." I mean, it was stupid. But
also, in hindsight, that spoils the entire movie because it's like, oh, I guess they team up now.
Yeah.
The discourse. It's up. I'm just gonna be the guy and say it. The discourse around Superman is so stupid because he's a humorous character.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody has been brainwashed and forgot that Superman is a dork. He is a
his
big
underwear
nerd. Right.
Outside his pants. I mean, how can you? Come on, man.
Like he's the biggest dork. And so I feel like the humor, if you don't like the joke, that's one thing. But to say that the humor shouldn't exist is the strange thing to me. Like Mr. Terrific saying like a line like, you got to get it together, man. It's like, that's humorous, but that's not Mr. Terrific joking. Like, he's very serious in that moment of, we got to get it together, man. And so it's like, if you don't think it's funny, that's fine. But it's also not like trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy or Peacemaker in its humor. So like, shrug it off. I'm just glad Superman has an actual personality.
Yeah.
One thing I've always complained about the Snyder films is that he's just boring. He just doesn't do anything. And so the humor here, it's not my favorite, but it's fine. It's just how it's cut. It's just the typical superhero beats, which I think some people needed, because we do know some folks who were concerned or worried about what this movie was going to be. We talked about the Barbie method a lot when it comes to this movie. And so I just think we're never going to know what this movie is about until we sit down, just like Barbie in that theater. And I think that's why some of these trailers are cut the way they are, where we still don't know what the story is. Why does Lex want to ruin Superman's life? That's the newest question we have from this trailer. And we're not going to know until July 11th.
I also, you noted to me that This is the trailer we got to see a lot more of Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor. Like,
Yeah.
he was just scowling in the first two trailers, or just saying like one or two lines. Like, he's talking. He's almost the main character of this trailer. And
oh yeah, this is the Lex trailer, is what I'm
yeah.
calling it.
I mean, I've always loved Nicholas Hoult. I mean, Mad Max Fury Road, I thought he was a really good beast. Juror number 2, I'm still mad at Warner Brothers for sabotaging my beloved Clint's supposedly final movie. He was like incredible in that. The Menu, About a Boy, which was like when he was really little. I mean, he's a great actor, and I was always in on him playing Lex Luthor. But like even now, I'm like, oh hell yeah! And it does remind me. Remember when BVS was still casting, and everyone was like, they were saying Bryan Cranston for Lex Luthor because he was bald, and everyone thought Lex Luthor should always be played by an older actor.
Yeah.
And I mean, Nicholas Hoult is still pretty young. I think Jesse Eisenberg obviously has a more youthful presence. Nicholas Hoult, like, they are the same age, but he carries himself a lot differently. And that's what I really like. I think he's going to nail it, just like Brosnahan and Corn Sweat.
Yeah, Nicholas Hoult, the Bryan Cranston thing was annoying because you're right. People saw Breaking Bad and they saw that he was bald and they were like, he should be Lex. And if anybody actually knows this lore of the character, you would know that traditionally in a lot of stories, Lex and Superman both come from Smallville and they are around the same age. You know, I don't care if they actually are both from Smallville. That's something that we can play around with. But it's never this man is 20 years older than Superman. They're like 10-year gap at most, usually. So Nicholas Hoult, you're right. Even though they are close in age, he does carry himself very differently. And he is this like businessman. And we don't know what leads to him like having this fierce anger towards Superman. But I'm interested to see what happens. And I really want to know what's the deal with Baby Joey. Shout out to Baby Joey. Finally got in a trailer. We love him. We already stand. Already my favorite character.
I remember in one of our group texts, somebody posted the toy with Baby Joey. And they were like, who the hell is Baby Joey? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm kind of vibing with him.
Yeah, I just love how the entire fandom is just like, as soon as he showed up on screen, it's like, Baby Joey, let's go. Who is he? Still don't know, but he's already my favorite character. I'm hoping he's the Baby Groot of this movie.
I believe he's Metamorpho's son. I guess Metamorpho has a son in the comics. You would know more than me about that, but
he does not that I know of. That's what makes this. Again, I don't know a lot about Metamorpho. I just want to talk about some shots right quick. This is insane. The teeth knocked out, bouncing off the camera. Also, Crypto has learned so much by the time we get to this scene. He would not listen to Superman, but all of a sudden we're doing combos like it's Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. I mean, that shot, honestly, and I don't know if like some stands are going to yell at me, it kind of gives me like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man vibe, where it's like, this is a comic book movie. We're going to treat it like it's goofy, but it's not a total like joke. But like, that's such a comic booky kind of thing. Like, it's the right amount of like cheesy, but actually kind of cool.
I just love the bits we're getting with the camera. Like the camera's struggling to keep up with Superman on its flights, or it being interactive and the teeth getting knocked out and hitting, bouncing off of it. That's the kind of stuff where it's like, oh, James Gunn's in his bag with this one. This is a ton of fun. This is not the only DC story, though, so we're going to move on from Superman. James Gunn did a ton of interviews, specifically with Entertainment Weekly, and he revealed that we are getting another Wonder Woman film. Patty Jenkins is not attached to this one, neither is Gal Gadot, so we are all assuming it's a reboot. This is not surprising, but I'm glad he's finally talking about it. You know, like, we're going on like 2.5 years now when James Gunn finally revealed his plans for DCU Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. And he announced Superman and Swamp Thing and Paradise Lost, like this Amazonian show on HBO Max. once again.
It
I
was
have to
HBO
remember.
Max back then too. Can you believe it?
I know. That's why it's like my brain has to reset again. It's now HBO Max. But it's like he pitched it's like this Game of Thrones like prequel, and it's like that's cool and all. In a chapter called Gods and Monsters, where's your God, dude?
Yeah.
And so Wonder Woman finally in the works. I would say, are you excited? But I feel like we all are excited for more Wonder Woman. So what would you like to see in Wonder Woman's reboot?
I do really hope they get a female director for this, because I think just like they did in the search for finding Patty Jenkins, because I remember it was going to be Michelle McLaren at first, then it was moved to Patty Jenkins. Or with Marvel, when they were doing Black Panther, they were like, we need to find a black director for this. And I really think what Wonder Woman means to people, like my mom loves Wonder Woman. That was one of the only superhero movies she actually like cared about, and she was like, they better get this right. So that's first off. And secondly, I mean, I think it's about time if we're not going to see Batman here for a while, if they're going to wait until after the Reeves trilogy closes out, we need.
If we get the second one,
well, we'll get back to that in a little bit, but superhero reboots are coming a lot quicker now. I mean, if you look at the amount of time between Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland, it wasn't that long. Amazing Spider-Man 2, 2014. And then 2 years later, Tom Holland. Like, people will get over that pretty fast. This will be a greater amount of time, or it already is. I'm just interested to see who they cast. I mean, I could go on. I've seen a lot of discussion about Adria Arjona, who from Andor and Hitman, which I would love her. She would probably be my top choice. Her, Monica Barbaro, May Calmo. I can't. Calmaway?
Kalamaui, I think. But either way, if we're both wrong, we're sorry, May. We love you.
And then I heard an interesting one that I saw in a couple of places, and I hadn't even told you about this one yet. She was already involved with DC. Grace Curry? She was Mary Marvel in the Shazam movies.
So, funny you mentioned that. When we did a bunch of videos for DCU Fancast, and we actually did a Wonder Woman one. Go watch it. I'll make sure I link it. She was my fan cast for Donna Troy in our Titans video.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, with as much time has passed, that video has been like 2 years now. By the time we make Wonder Woman, yeah, she would be the age range. It's like, yeah, she's like 30, 32 at that point. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm cool with that. Especially because Donna Troy in the comics is kind of just like a clone of Diana. Her lore is weird. So anybody I pick for Donna Troy, I'm cool with playing Wonder Woman. So I actually love that choice so much, and nobody remembers Shazam anymore. So yeah. it's whatever. Yeah, you were talking about a female director. I'm a little concerned because for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, we had Craig Gillespie as the director of that film. That maybe, I assume James Gunn and crew are like, well, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, we're adapting a Tom King book that was written by a guy anyway. Maybe we can get away with that. Hopefully they have more reverence for Wonder Woman to try and get a female director on this.
I will say, I don't think it matters as much with Supergirl. Because again, this is adapting a comic that already exists.
Yeah.
Written by a dude. A very good book, as you have told me. I still haven't read it. I will. But
you've got time.
Yeah, I do. I have a whole year. But I was thinking with Wonder Woman, it's like Supergirl is a well-known character. Wonder Woman is like the most well-known female superhero. Marvel,
yeah, literally in the Trinity.
Marvel people can come after me and say, what about Black Widow? No. Wonder Woman, like, people knew of her long before Gal Gadot played her. People were always clamoring for a Wonder Woman movie. Like, she is, I would say, Mount Rushmore of superheroes. So, I think the importance of this character, I think they're going to do a female director, because they did think of the Craig Gillespie thing. I don't know if they went after were looking for a female director and just couldn't find anybody or not. What went on? I'm not sure, but I like Craig Gillespie. I liked all of his movies. He's never really done anything like Supergirl, which makes me a little curious on how it will look.
Especially because Supergirl's such like high fantasy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how he tackles that. I'm excited for it though.
But I mean, apparently, like the reason it's happening right after Superman was because the script was like incredible. Do you have any directors you could see in mind for Wonder Woman, or do you have a fan cast of your own?
I do. Go watch the video. We're not going to recap all of them here. But yeah, like all the ones you named have already been like my fan cast. As far as directors, it depends on, and maybe this is another video that we'll do, pitching a story for Wonder Woman. Because Wonder Woman 2017, that was done by Patty Jenkins. Love that movie. I think I still want like a more fantastical take on the character. Like I want us to go full on like a God of War type story.
Yeah.
Right. Like if she's gonna fight Ares, let's have her go through these different realms and like the trial of Hercules, but with Wonder Woman. That would be sick, right? I want us to show what she does when she's not on Man's World. I think that's the part of the character we haven't explored. And then we meet up with her present day or whatever, and she meets Superman and Batman in a Trinity movie or a Justice League movie or whatever. And I'm cool with that. But like, that's why for the image, I picked Absolute Wonder Woman. Like the first issue of Absolute Wonder Woman, that's a new series from DC. It's in an alternate universe. But in the first issue of that book, she's fighting like dragons and all this other stuff. And it's like, that's a part of the character that Patty Jenkins hinted at, but we never really embraced it. We went straight into the World War I stuff. And I think that also allows the Amazonians to play a larger role. Like, I don't need to see Steve Trevor in this first film. So as far as a director, I'm not sure yet. I need to do a little bit more research and figure out who can tackle that type of style, because we're going for more Lord of the Rings and less Superman the movie. And Wonder Woman 2017 was very much Superman the movie.
Yeah. One that I was thinking about, because that is it kind of punk rock as well?
Oh, Absolute Wonder Woman?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Because she's already working with Warner Brothers. I know her movies kind of like, they're kind of panicked about it. She used to be an actress. She was in a Batman movie as Maggie Gyllenhaal. Because I was trying to think, I mean, it shows a problem in Hollywood. I'm like, okay, what's a female director that's not Greta Gerwig, who has done like big movies before? And who came into my mind, there's a couple.
And I don't know if Nia DaCosta wants to circle back to another one of these anytime soon.
No. I think the other one I thought of is Ava DuVernay, but I don't know after A Wrinkle in Time if she'd also want to go back to a big budget or if she wants to do, more
Plus,
small.
she was working with DC on like a New Gods thing, and then that fell apart. So she's probably like, I don't want to mess with y'all. Maybe James Gunn can convince her. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's a different regime, but I think Maggie Gyllenhaal could bring it. I think it all depends on how that movie, The Bride, does. But she would probably be one of my choices, unless that movie like absolutely like tanks. Then she definitely won't do it, even if it gets like good reviews, which is a problem with Hollywood. But
yeah, it's a massive problem. Would Regina King be an interesting choice? I mean, she did Watchmen, so like she's kind of in the family.
Yeah. I mean, she hasn't done a full-on movie since One Night in Miami, but I mean, I love her sensibility. She's obviously a comic fan, I'm pretty sure. So, like, I'd love to see her take on Wonder Woman. Yeah.
It'd be interesting for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if what I've seen from her style fits my vision of Wonder Woman. But again, like I've talked about with Superman before, Wonder Woman has been around for almost 100 years. There's so many different takes on the character. So like we can make something work. What we can't make work apparently is the Batman 2. So Batman 2, Matt Reeves has been working on this for how many years has it been, Nate? Like 3 years since the Batman came out. It was like 22,
3
right?
years. Yep.
For 3 years. He was supposed to submit his script to James Gunn on Memorial Day, I think was the last thing we heard. James Gunn still has not received the script for whatever reason. This movie is just, I don't know if we could say development hell yet, but we're getting to a point where it's like, this is just going to come out whenever it's ready, and we just need to set our sights for DCU Batman at this point.
I feel like it's eventually, it has to happen. I mean,
it's going to happen, but like, we're probably not seeing it until like what, 2030 maybe? Because they're going to have to film it. We haven't gotten the first draft yet to James Gunn.
No, and that's a thing that's kind of heartbreaking. But I feel like if they just went ahead and if they canceled the Batman Part 2, and James Gunn is well aware, if they canceled that and then just recast a new Batman in the DCU, there would be backlash. I don't think anybody would be particularly happy about that. I know there's been rumors that Matt Reeves might not return to direct the Batman Part 2, but then at that point, then why make it?
We're here for Matt Reeves' vision because we love the world that he created. And so we're gonna have to be patient. We're gonna have to wait for that script to hit James Gunn's desk. Every time James Gunn speaks about it, though, he's like, "Well, I've read bits and pieces, and it's all great. So I assume draft 1, they're gonna be good to go." But yeah, it's a little unfortunate. At this point, it's nothing new though. Like we'll get it when we get it. But in the Batman world, we've got Clayface. They're looking for their leading man. This is coming from Hollywood Reporter earlier this week.
Yes.
This was being co-written by Mike Flanagan, and then directed by James Watkins. We have 4 names in the ring to play Clayface. 1917. Huh?
4 Brits.
4 Brits, mate. This is it makes all the sense in the world because of course he's an actor and all our actors are British now. But yeah, we have 4 Brits in the running to play the Clayman. George McKay from 1917, Tom Blythe from The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Jack O'Connell, who just killed it in Sinners. He was phenomenal in that. And then
28 years later, he's going to be in that too.
Oh yeah, he is. I forgot about that.
I guess he's the
big year.
So
big year for Jack, man.
Oh yeah,
nice. And then we have Leah Woodall, who was in The White Lotus season 2. Unlike the Batman, this is a movie that just sprung out of nowhere. Yeah. And it's like, hey, we have a script. We're shooting. We're going to come out next year. And now we're already somehow into the casting phase for the lead role. Does anyone stand out here, Nate, for you?
I would say out of these 4, the 2 I'm rooting for are Jack O'Connell, who, I mean, he's just presented himself as playing a great villain. Because he was brought on like 10 years ago because he was in that really disappointing movie Unbroken, because the book for that is incredible. And then the Angelina Jolie directed movie was not great. But then he's kind of come back with like a vengeance because he's in Sinners 28 years later. And it's like he's proven himself. And I think he can have that energy. And I mean, already in Sinners, he's already like, you saw the ending of the movie. You saw his face. He can, it's a natural fit. Same. The other one I was going to say was Leo Woodall, but I wanted to hear what you were going to say about Jack first.
Jack is so interesting. And this was a fan theory that I saw on social media. I don't remember which platform at this point, but somebody was like, what if Jack's playing Batman? And I'm like, I don't know why they'd be casting Batman first in the Clayface movie, but now I'm like, I kind of want him to be DCU Batman. That'd be kind of interesting.
We've got to know how tall he is, because I feel like he could be a short king, and we need a tall Batman. I'm sorry.
Robert Downey Jr. is 5'8", and you can't tell because we put him on a box. It's fine.
Okay, yeah, he can have stilts. I guess in a movie we'll get to later, there's a plot point about a very real surgery that makes you look taller.
Oh, goodness.
It could work.
No, but yeah, like I think him as Batman would be so interesting, and now I'm kind of hung up on like that'd be fascinating. I'm still on the put Pattinson in the DCU train though until that officially dies. For the rest of these dudes though, I'm interested in what Tom Blythe can do with this role, because that's not a face. This is not a face I would associate with Clayface at all.
Mhm.
And so it's like, okay, what can he do with this role? I think he'd be the one who would have to transform the most out of the rest of these dudes.
Yeah.
Obviously he ends up becoming a giant clay monster, but like the lead up to that I think would be interesting, because in the what this is based off of, Batman the Animated Series, which Mike Flanagan confirmed, it's based off the episodes Feet of Clay Part 1 and 2. He's a struggling actor who falls in with the wrong crowd, and he has this substance that allows him to change his face, and it makes him a better performer, right?
Mhm.
He doesn't look like he seems too young to be a struggling actor, right? I think he needs to be a little older, but you know, I'm interested to see their take with these guys. All of them, I think, would be interesting choices, though. But yeah, Jack is now like top 3 Batman choices for me if we have to move on from Pattinson.
George McKay, because we haven't really addressed him, because he was in 1917 and he was excellent in that movie that wasn't performance driven, but he was always on screen in that movie. And he was like, he should have been nominated for that movie, I feel like. But since then, because I kept thinking he was going to pop off, he's been taking on like weirdo roles. Like he was in this movie about furries, I think, kind of. They didn't have fursuits, but it was called Wolf with Lily Rose Depp. And my friend described it to me as, have you heard of the movie Boy Erased about gay conversion therapy?
I haven't, no. You're going to have to sell it to me.
Okay, that's a movie about gay conversion therapy. It's a very traumatic, very hard to watch, but very underrated movie. It's a downer. I mean, it has a hopeful ending because it is a true story. What Wolf was described, the George McKay movie, Wolf was described to me as, and he said this was like if a furry saw Boy Erased and said, now I want to tell my story as a furry. That's what my friend described it to me. And I was like shocked when he said that. I was like, that can't be real. And like Lily Rose Depp is in it. And so George McKay plays a guy who identifies as a wolf. And then Lily Rose Depp plays a girl who identifies as a kitten. And they're like sent to like a conversion therapy thing. Long story short, George McKay picks weird roles. So
yep.
And part of me thinks that's what might be attracted him to playing Clayface. She's like, can I get weird? And they're like, you're playing a giant monster made of clay who could change his appearance. He's like, I'm sold.
Yeah, I get it. I pitched this theory to you guys in a private chat, but I'm going to say it here for the folks listening. I think it'd be really interesting if you just cast all these guys.
Yeah.
Like, the Clayface does become multiple people, and he can take on different identities. So, like, the idea of you just cast all 4 of these dudes and just cycle through them throughout the film, and then going forward, one of the 4 will play Clayface in his upcoming appearances, and it'll just change all the time. None of them has to sign like a long-term commitment. But I just think that'll be fascinating. Obviously, they all
similar.
Huh?
They all look very similar. They're all super pale.
That white. Could be the point. But yeah, that's also fair. You could get like 4 drastically different looking people. And of course throw some women in there too, just because Clayface can do that. But the idea of Clayface being played by multiple people, I did pitch that before. And so even if 2 of these guys stay on to play the character, I think that could be kind of fun.
I definitely think so as well. I mean, about Tom Blythe, because the only thing I've seen him in, and he hasn't been in really anything big since, was that Hunger Games prequel, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. You know, I'm a big Hunger Games fan. I thought he was really good in that movie. My only concern is he also does not look like that in the movie at all. I was like, wait, that's him. He's like a lot more handsome in that picture than he is in that movie.
Oh, do you know? I can't get him as president. I have to get where he looks like his normal, regular, everyday self. And so I had to scroll so far to find a picture.
Like, I wonder if they're going to think he's not big enough Because I almost feel like they want like a recognizable face, and I think Jack O'Connell, especially because Sinners is such a huge hit, I think 28 years later is going to be such a huge hit. His star is so much on the rise that I think, and he's already in the Warner Brothers family with Sinners. I feel like he's going to get the role, especially because he's a lot older than any of those guys. He's the one who stands out. Remember the reports about Rachel Brosnahan? They were like, okay, she's a little out of the age range by like a year or two, but like she nailed it. And that's what I feel like could happen with Jack O'Connell.
That's why he makes the most sense to me, though, because again, struggling actor, but these guys are like 24. You know, it's like, okay, Jack is 34, so he's still not like old. I would still probably go 10 years older if we're being completely honest, but you know, him being the oldest of the bunch, I think definitely helps him. I did look up, by the way, he is 5'8". So if he were to become Batman, we're gonna have to get this man on a box because David Corenswet's like 6'5". Yeah, 2 boxes. But I'm excited to see what happens with Clayface. This is coming out with Supergirl next year. Oh my goodness, we're actually in the DCU. These are coming out consistently now.
Yeah,
exciting.
I wonder when we're going to get final confirmation, though, if it's going to be before or after the release of Superman.
Confirmation on the casting?
Yeah.
It could be, I mean, Comic-Con, I guess. That will be after Superman. It'll be 2 weeks after. Are we sure? Are we sure? Because they're gonna have a panel. So I could easily see James Gunn saying, oh, by the way, here's who's playing Clayface, and here's a still of Supergirl, and then he walks out. Like, I don't expect it to be a lot, but they are going to be there.
I know, but I feel like in the past, well, I guess James Gunn is different leadership, but at the same time, Comic-Con is always like, DC at Comic-Con, they used to be great, but now, like, remember the Black Adam Comic-Con reports?
Yeah.
The big surprise was just The Rock showed up in costume, and they used to talk about that in Shazam too. And they didn't even address like Aquaman 2, which was like, I think like done at that time or whatever.
It'd be really disappointing if they weren't there. I know James Gunn has already said like, we're not going to have a major presence. We're going to talk Peacemaker. And it's like, that's boring because you have 2 movies coming out next year that you can talk about, but it's okay. Like when they didn't have anything to show, I was cool with it. But now it's like, guys, you're done filming Lanterns by the time Comic-Con shows up. You can talk about Lanterns.
I think we'll get Lanterns. I think that's the one surprise they might do. And I think if Superman is the massive hit that you and I both think it will be, I think then they would announce who's Clayface and then who's Supergirl. Or a look at Supergirl, like a first look image. Besides that, though, because everything feels so up in the air and unpredictable, I don't think they're gonna. I don't know.
That's fair. Also, I still think Supergirl is in this Superman movie, so like, they probably should drop a first look at Jason Momoa as Lobo because I think we're gonna know what Kara looks like by the time Comic-Con rolls around. We're done with DCU stuff. So Nate, somehow Spaceballs has returned.
Yes, it's the search for more money. So last year they had reported that Amazon was developing a Spaceballs 2 with Josh Gad and the co-writers of Pokemon Detective Pikachu and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. They were writing it, and then Gad was going to play a role in the movie. We didn't know what. Well, it was all quiet on that movie, on any updates. And then this past Thursday, out of nowhere, Amazon dropped this, like, did you see the teaser?
Yeah, I did.
It was hilarious. It was just the title crawl, but it was like in 38 years, there has been only one original Star Wars trilogy, but also, and they just like went hard at the Disney regime of Star Wars. Like, but then not only that, they went hard at like every major franchise. Like they made fun of like, they were like DC twice, 8 Harry Potter movies, adapting 7 books, 8 new Harry Potter TV series, remaking the same 7 books. Like, it was funny. And then Mel Brooks was at the end basically saying, this is coming in theaters in 2027. And yeah, I'm playing Yogurt again, which dude's going to be 99 in 2 weeks. So, but I feel like it could just be a voice role. They can make Yogurt a puppet. Not only that, though, we also got a cast. So
this is the thing that shocked me the most, honestly.
Yes. Okay, so we know, I already said Mel Brooks is returning as Yogurt. Bill Pullman is coming back as Lone Star. Daphne Zuniga is playing Princess Vespa. The big one is Rick Moranis is finally coming out of retirement, and he's reprising the role as Dark Helmet. Not only that, Josh Gad is in the movie. He's playing Barf Jr., who is the son of the character played in the original by the late John Candy, one of the greatest comedic actors ever. Not only that, Keke Palmer is also in the movie, playing a character named Destiny. And not only that, but Louis Pullman, the son of Bill Pullman, and also Bob, and also Sentry, and also The Void, and also Bob in Top Gun Maverick, is playing Starburst, the son of Lone Star. Oh, and it's directed by the guy who made Barb and Star, so it gives me hope.
As somebody who hasn't seen Spaceballs, but like it's a pop culture meme. Like I've seen references to Spaceballs my entire life. Like I was shocked because I'm like, okay, yeah, another Legacy sequel. But then I'm like, Rick Moranis is coming out of retirement for this. Holy crap. I need to, one, go watch Spaceballs 1 because I already know he's great in that. But 2, holy crap, that means they're taking this very seriously. And it was convincing enough for him to come back for it. So on top of all of that, I'm stoked, dude. For a franchise that I have no experience with, I am beyond excited to check this out. I'm watching Spaceballs. It's on HBO Max right now, I believe. So I'm probably watching that this week for the first time. Just because I now have a reason to. Like, it's one that's like, oh, well, I'll get around to it. Now I need to watch this movie before this comes out because this is one of the most shocking announcements I've seen. I know we've known it was in development for a little bit, but yeah, the cast is great. The talent behind it. Rick Moranis is back. I'm in.
I wonder because right before COVID, and COVID destroyed this, I remember my senior year of college, my roommate at the time, he knocked on my bedroom door because we shared an apartment. And he told me, Sir, Rick Moranis is coming out of retirement because they're rebooting Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And I was like, holy shit. And that was also going to be with him and Josh Gad. So I wonder if like they're friends and Josh Gad was kind of the one who coaxed him in. That's what I'm expecting because my heart was broken when they're like, no, COVID killed that movie. And I'm like, look, I don't like that movie is probably going to suck, but I just want Rick Moranis back outside of like a Ryan Reynolds Mint Mobile commercial. That was the only other thing he's done since. And so also like Keke Palmer, like I feel like she's in demand. Like that's a big get too. And Louis Pullman, like they're stars who are going to be around for a long, long time.
Yeah, so. One of them days I just watched that. She was fantastic. We also got the announcement of a sequel for that film. So her doing more comedies, I'm down for. More like bigger comedies, I'm really down for because she's an amazing talent. And yeah, Pullman, love him. I just wonder if we're going to keep the joke of him playing someone named Bob again. They're just going to start calling him Bob in this movie.
I feel like they have to. It would be very tongue-cheek. He would be like, my name is Starburst. And no, he would be like Bob Star or something because he's playing the son of Lone Star and Vespa. Lone Star is kind of like a Han Solo parody. Vespa's obviously Leia. Would he then be the Kylo Ren of this movie?
He'd have to be.
So his real name would be like Bob Star.
Yep, exactly. This is interesting. I'm so here for it though.
I'm excited.
Speaking of sequels, we've got another one to talk about. Somehow The Incredibles have returned. Incredibles 3 was announced at D23 last year, I believe.
Yes.
Brad Bird's not returning for the director's chair in this one. Shockingly, I'm kind of surprised by that. Brad Bird wrote and directed the first two Incredibles movies, and this time the script is still being written by Bird, but now it's going to be directed by Peter Son. Am I pronouncing the last name right? I hope I am.
I think so.
Director of Pixar's 2023 sleeper hit Elemental. Brad Bird is still working on his original animated film Ray Gunn for Skydance. At first, I told this to you before, I love The Incredibles and I love Brad Bird. And so the moment the headline was just like Brad Bird out, I'm just like, oh no, y'all didn't. I know you guys didn't do that to me. And then I'm like, oh, it's the guy who did Elemental. Cool. I love Elemental. I think I said it on my letterbox. Elemental is one of the few movies in recent memory to actually make me cry. So I'm here for it. If we can capture that level of like heart and emotion that we did in Elemental and put that back in the Parr family for the third film, I'm stoked. What are your thoughts though on Incredibles 3?
Because I think you were the one who broke that news to me. And when I first heard you say Peter Son, I thought he was the guy who made Lightyear. And I'm like, oh no. No. Like, Incredibles 2, I know a lot of people like didn't care for that one as much. I still thought it was good. Just wasn't nearly as good as the original. But I was like, oh no, they're really phoning it in. And then I was like, oh wait, it's the Elemental guy. Okay, we're good.
We had the same reaction. Yep.
He was. Peter Son actually voiced a character in Lightyear, and he was like the best part of the movie. He voiced the cat robot Socks, who's like,
oh, Socks is the only person I remember from this movie. If I'm
yeah, he was great. That's why you remember him. He was the best part. So,
but yeah, like I'm down. We still don't have story details on Incredibles 3. I'm pretty sure. But
no.
I love The Incredibles. I hope we do a small time jump. I need Jack to at least start talking. That'll change the entire dynamic of this family.
I think it depends on when it's coming out. Like if they're going to do, because Pixar's 2026 and 2027 are already filled up. So then 2028 would put it 10 years after Incredibles 2.
Oh God, don't say that.
But I think also they have Coco 2 coming that year. So if it's not until 2029, maybe, because it was a longer stretch between the first two, but I remember when they first reported that 2 was finally happening, we were like, oh, hell yeah, they're going to age them up because it's been so long. And Pixar already did that so well with Toy Story 3 with Andy. And then they didn't. And they kind of made the same movie again, but with Elastigirl and a really predictable villain. It was good. It was better than a lot of like modern animated movies, but I do really hope we age them up. I don't know if they will.
Yeah, like I know a lot of people are like, I want to see them. I want to see Dash and Violet as adults. Like, I don't want to go that far.
No.
Just make Jack like 8, because also Mr. Incredible has been retired and then unretired. So like, I don't want them to be like super old either. I don't need Mr. Incredible being 70. you know, just like 5 years. That's cool. Whatever.
Or even just have Dash. Pixar's already dealing with puberty in several of their movies. Have Dash be the one going through puberty and Violet's going to college. Have it like that. Because Violet, I think, is still like 13 in the original.
Yeah.
So have Jack be then like go about 5 years. Have him be like, have him like 6, 7, or 8. Violet in college. Dash is finally a teenager. And if they do it like that, I think that. And I think the story kind of demands it now. I mean, they can't keep doing it with them as a family. It's not like The Simpsons where they could stay that same age. I want to see them grow up.
It's also, I think, a product of Incredibles 2. Because if Incredibles 2 was a more original feeling story, we might be thinking about this differently. But like you were just saying, the formula is the same as Incredibles 1. So it's like, clearly you don't have enough material to work with. So we can just move forward a little bit and completely change the family's dynamic, and that'll put some more juice into it. And just give us more Frozone and Honey. That's really what I want to see.
Just gotta find a 2%.
That's not the only Pixar story that we had this week. This one kind of came out of nowhere for me. We have the first hand-drawn animated movie coming from Pixar. It's coming out in 2027. This is being reported by Variety. The movie's called Gatto, and this is being directed by the director of Luca. And the brief synopsis that we have reads, the film returns to Italy following a black cat named Nero. Indebted to a feline mob boss, Nero finds himself forced to forge an unexpected friendship that may finally lead him to his purpose. It looks adorable. Here's a little picture. I never expected Pixar to move away from 3D animation, but you know what? I'm here for it. It looks cute, and this is one still we have, and I'm glad they're able to expand a bit. I know Disney officially retired their 2D animated section, with Princess and the Frog being their last 2D animated movie. So if Pixar wants to pick that up, because it's really frustrating that Disney's two major animation studios are just kind of doing the same style of 3D animated films. I'm glad they're branching out and doing something different, especially with that Pixar quality that we're used to, right?
Mm-hmm. I know Pixar keeps wanting to do these sequels because they are making money. Inside Out 2 was the biggest movie of last year. Incredibles 3 will be huge. Toy Story 5, even though I'm still mad they're making that, because I'm the one defender of Toy Story 4, that I'm like, that's a good ending. You know what? It made me cry. Why is Woody coming back? So is that movie pointless now? Anyway.
That's how I feel about Toy Story 3. It's like, we got Toy Story 4. It's like, what? And I feel like it's going to be the same boat. Not to sidetrack too much, but like, Toy Story 4 to me is the same thing, where it's like, we had a perfect ending. This is a good movie. Like, I don't think Toy Story 4 is a bad movie, but it also doesn't need to exist. I think Toy Story 5 is going to be like, good movie, doesn't need to exist.
Yeah, I think so. But this is the move that Pixar needs to make, because I don't think Elio is going to make any money. It's set out not to perform well. And this is something that will, I think, attract more like people our age as well, because we'll see it and it's like, oh wow, they're actually like doing something cool with the animation. Also, I wanted to point out, because the internet has to internet, saw a bunch of replies on Instagram saying, oh, Pixar just wants to make Flow, the movie about the cat that won Best Animated
The black
Feature.
cat, yeah.
Does that plot sound anything like Flow?
It doesn't, but also, even if they did, who cares?
It's a hand-drawn movie, though. So this movie had to have been in the works for far longer than we even knew what Flow was. Like,
yeah, it's annoying. It's like you said, the internet's gonna internet. I'm just glad Pixar's stepping out, doing something different.
Wait, pull up the picture again. Pull up the picture.
Pulling it up. Here you go. Look at this.
They saw a cat and they saw water, and they said, "That's Flow."
My question is this set in the same universe as Luca? That's what I want to know. That's my biggest question.
Maybe.
But because it said we return, and it's like, return. Okay. What do you mean by that?
That'd be interesting. I don't know, though, because I think there was a cat in that movie, too, and it didn't talk. Maybe I'm forgetting.
I haven't seen Luca since it's come out. It's a great movie, though. Silenzio Bruno.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pixar, do your thing. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
Nate, we've got a weird one you need to talk about.
Yay.
Bring it on.
Okay. So Robert Eggers, he has been really, really busy. And he made The Witch, he made The Lighthouse. Then he did what I think is his best movie, The Northman. And then he did the 2024 remake of Nosferatu, which came out on Christmas Day last year. And then he's on pre-production for his werewolf movie, Werewolf, which is coming out Christmas Day 2026. So what's the next most obvious next step?
Clearly, it's Charles Dickens, right?
Oh, yeah. He is making A Christmas Carol for Warner Brothers. He's also working on a Labyrinth movie for Sony, which I really hope doesn't happen because you can't make Labyrinth without David Bowie. But I won't go on about that. This is about A Christmas Carol. And Willem Dafoe maybe playing Ebenezer Scrooge, who also shows up in my new favorite movie, Hot Rod, in one of the movie moments that made me laugh the hardest in like a very long time. It's very random. But yeah, this is a thing that's happening. If you don't know, and for some reason didn't go to school like at all, or haven't been to a library, this follows Ebenezer Scrooge, who may be played by Willem Dafoe, who's worked with Robert Eggers on The Lighthouse, The Northman, and Nosferatu. And on the night before Christmas, he's visited by his deceased business partner, who's like, there's going to be 3 ghosts that come visit you. And those 3 ghosts are the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. And then we all know what happens. The thing about it is, a lot of the Christmas Carol adaptations have been very family friendly. I mean, the Muppets one is obviously the best. This one's going to be gothic, and this one's going to be horror, and intentionally scary. Not like the Jim Carrey, Robert Zemeckis motion capture movie that Disney made almost like 20 years ago. That was scary for the wrong reasons. This is going to be a gothic horror take for Warner Brothers. So Eggers is completely moving away from Focus Features and A24 to make a movie that I think will probably be his biggest budget yet, which is weird because after like The Northman, he said, I might not make a movie on this scale again. Then he keeps proving us wrong. But I'm pumped. I'm excited for Werewolf. My only concern with that one is they say it's going to be all in Old English.
Yeah.
And I love werewolf movies, and we have not had a good one. Wolfman, the Blumhouse movie, really, really let me down because that wasn't a werewolf. That was like a hairless meth addict. I'm hopeful for that, but this movie I think it's perfect for Robert Eggers. I know everyone's like, what the hell? I know you're like, what the hell? I'm like, this is what I want. I mean, and it's not going to come out on Christmas Day. You know that, right? Even though
when is it coming out?
I don't know, but it's going to have to come out before Christmas, so it's probably going to come out on like Thanksgiving.
Jeez. Okay. I am actually in your camp. I'm not what the hell. I am all for this. This is so ridiculous. First off, shout out to Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abdi, co-chairpersons of Warner Brothers Motion Picture Group, because the fact that they have rehabbed this studio after the crap David Zaslav did in 2020 that pissed almost the entire industry off.
Yeah.
They have Ryan Coogler here making movies now. They've got Robert Eggers coming over here making crazy, crazy films.
PTA.
We have DCU stuff happening with James Gunn in that studio. Like, they have rehabbed the brand of Warner Brothers so much. And the fact they're letting Eggers make A Christmas Carol, I'm in. It's everything you were saying, right? The Zemeckis movie, I will push it back a little bit. It does intentionally have horror elements in it.
It does.
Intentionally.
It scared me.
Yeah. Like, I do think that movie's trying to be a little scary.
It is.
I think just the art style makes it scarier than he probably wants.
Tiny Tim is scary in that movie. He's scarier than the ghosts.
Right. But I like that, right? Because this evil businessman is being haunted throughout Christmas Eve, and it's like these spirits are like, hey, if you don't change, you're gonna die alone, and you're going straight to the bad place. Yeah. I do hope that this movie doesn't lean too far into the horror nature. Like, we can scare the crap out of Scrooge. I still want it to have the moral of the story and the ending of the story. Like, he needs to come out of it. No, like, I don't want it to be like, oh, this is the dark ending. He dies, the end. Like, I don't want us to do that.
Tiny Tim dies. There was a meme. You lambast me for still being on Twitter, and I get it. I need to be off. But there was one funny meme. And it was it was the end of the Muppets Christmas Carol, and they changed the line, and it was like, and Tiny Tim did die.
Yeah, like, I don't want it to be like that dark, But the idea of giving the story a little bit more of an edge, I'm here for it. And my gosh, Willem Dafoe as Ebenezer Scrooge
Perfect.
is gonna be so. If I need him to officially sign on to this, that's gonna be so good, man.
He will. God, I am so unbelievably pumped for this. And I really think because a couple months ago, after Mickey 17 bombed, and Alto Knights, even though that movie was something David Zaslav forced them to make, they didn't want to make it. They're like, "You're an idiot if you think this is gonna work." And he's like, "My buddy from the Hamptons wants this made," and they're like, "Fine." He blamed it on them, and then Joker 2. After the massive success of Sinners, Minecraft, and Final Destination, I feel like they are on a hot streak. And I think this movie, being at Warner Brothers, is a direct result of Sinners as well. I feel like in some cases, some of these directors that came from like A24 or like the indie movies, they're becoming movie stars in their own right, especially as Letterboxd is becoming popular. People showed up for a Nosferatu remake at Christmas time. But that's wild.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah, this is why I'm like, again, shout out to Michael and Pam for just like rehabbing Warner Brothers so much after all the crap they've been through. Because, yeah, they're proving that they are very much a director-driven like studio. Because not only did they give Ryan Coogler the money to make Sinners, they let him be nerdy and say, "Hey, this is how we filmed it. This is the format you should watch it in. This is the benefits of seeing it in XYZ." And it's like, it's sold so well in IMAX. And I think it's simply because they let the man who made the movie sell us on his movie. And that is just something that doesn't happen anymore. No. And so, yeah, now it's just like, oh yeah, Robert Eggers is coming in to make a Christmas Carol because he has a crazy pitch. Here's where you should see it. That's what's selling movies. That's what made Barbie work. That's what made Sinners work. That's what looks like is making Superman work. So I think they found something that's going to be really beneficial for Warner Brothers. Like you said, they're having their best year in years.
Yeah,
right now.
I mean, this is a better move than Matrix 5 without the Wachowskis, which is also something that David Zaslav once made. I don't know why. Who liked Matrix 4 had a following. I didn't hate it, but like, yeah, they kept saying they wanted to lean into IP because Mike, it's almost hunting for Gollum time, right? Gollum hunting season.
Do not remind me. Do not remind me. Like, again, as much as I love Lord of the Rings, I do not want to go hunt for Gollum, especially because they're trying to get the original cast back, and it's like, don't do that, please, please. I don't need to see.
Those all feel like Zaslav moves. This, like you said, feels like a total Mike and Pam move. Yeah. And I'm here for it. Props to them. Keep it up.
Keep it up. Unfortunately, Disney, we want you to keep it up as well, even though it didn't work. Thunderbolts is losing them a lot of money. We probably want to put an asterisk next to their box office performance. This is coming from Variety.
Too soon.
I know. I'm sorry. The new Avengers are struggling. This is coming from Variety. Despite strong reviews and positive reception from audiences, Thunderbolts asterisk, aka the new Avengers, has become one of the lowest grossing movies in the history of the MCU, making $371 million globally. The film, which cost $180 million to make and then $100 million to market, would have needed $425 million just to break even. This puts it as one of the lowest performers, grossing less than Eternals and Ant-Man and the Wasp. And Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, it stands to lose anywhere between $35 million to $40 million for Disney, according to Forbes. What do we do? What do they do? Because this is a good movie.
Yeah,
this is a great word of mouth movie. So, what does this mean for Marvel going forward?
Eternals 2 and 3, Quantumania 2.
Man, the Wasp: Quantumania 2.
Yeah. No, this is a bummer, especially because it was just it was a really good movie. And honestly, I'm going to predict that by the time I see Fantastic Four, I'll say when comparing the two, I think I'll end up being a bigger fan of Thunderbolts. Like, it was a great movie that I feel like I know Kevin Feige said this is a new era. This is the start of a new era. I feel like there's still strings attached to the TV shows because John Walker, TV show, we learned about Yelena. You talked about this too. Like, yeah, they recapped us. Who remembers Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I went with my family to go watch this movie. They did enjoy it. They were not high on it. I had to bully them into go watching this, and they did end up loving it. But they were like, "Who's Ghost? Who is Taskmaster?" And they kind of remember Red Guardian, but like they only knew Bucky, Yelena, and John Walker. And it's like, most people don't even know John Walker. So this is very bad. It's unfortunate because it's a TV show thing, but this also just proves that even though it has good word of mouth and good reviews, Marvel can no longer get people to come to the theater just by being Marvel. Because 5 years ago, if it just said Marvel Studios on the poster, instant money. Now it's, but is Spider-Man in it? Oh, is Doctor Strange or Wanda in it? You know, like it not having, because like Guardians of the Galaxy is basically the same thing. Nobody knew who those characters were. That movie did extremely well because Marvel was at a high. Marvel, it's unfortunate because Bob Iger was like, this is a new era. We're prioritizing quality over quantity. And now I'm like, how does this change things now? Because are we just going to focus on Avengers like tentpole characters in films? Because if a movie like Guardians of the Galaxy could bomb in this era of the MCU, even though it's great, because this is the same thing where it's like nobody knew who these characters were, and it failed, even though everybody loved it. And I'm just concerned that we get more Robert Downey as Doctor Doom type moves to try and get people interested or intrigued, and less powerful stories like Thunderbolts. That's what scares me so much right now.
It goes back to your social media post last year. That's why I was like snickering. Scarlett Johansson Mystique.
I deleted my Twitter, so yeah, that post is just gone, lost for eternity. But yes, Scarlett Johansson as Mystique is a type of move they would have to make now, and that's just, I don't know. I'm hoping they don't overreact to this, because we need more Thunderbolts and less RDJ as Doctor Doom. And I just hope we don't go backwards because we know Avengers is going to make money. That movie's going to make like $2 billion. And it's going to be like, oh, maybe we need to keep doing multiverse and all this other stuff and nostalgia bait. Again, as somebody who didn't like Deadpool and Wolverine, that's just my fear of like, we're going to get more Deadpool and Wolverines and less Thunderbolts. And that's going to
get more. I think I know like Ryan Reynolds was like, oh, I'm doing a movie with Deadpool as more of a side character. No, Disney's going to back up that dump truck of money and say, no, we want Deadpool to lead another movie. And you'd be like, okay, I got it.
I mean, even if he's a supporting character, not like the lead, it's going to be Task Force, right? Like it's going to be his team up book. X-Force, excuse me. Yeah. Task Force X is DC. X-Force. They're going to do that. It's going to be him and Hugh Jackman until he's 90. And we're going to get Domino in here and Cable back. And it's going to be another $1 billion movie.
Yeah, but I mean, I do wonder if this movie bombing is a direct result of it coming like just like a couple months after Brave New World, which people didn't like at all.
That's another movie that people really didn't see though either. That's my like
it made more
better.
Best.
It did, but it's also like even Captain America, even a Captain America known name really couldn't get people in. So I'm just a little concerned. But you know, it is what it is. Marvel will be fine. We've got Fantastic Four around the corner, and that's tracking well. So hopefully all of this will be a distant memory.
If Fantastic Four and Superman hypothetically both tank, I don't want that to happen. What do you think even happens with superhero movies?
Ooh, if they both tank, yikes. I I think it's over. I think we're cooked if they both tank because the DCU needs Superman to survive. Like, I maybe can rebound if Supergirl, which is already filmed, and Clayface, which is about to film, if those do well next year, they might be able to bounce back a little bit. But DC would just be dead on arrival, essentially, if Superman tanks. Fantastic Four, I mean, that's just going to be another nail in Marvel's coffin. They're not dead yet because they have Avengers movies that they're going to work on, and those are going to make money regardless. But that might be the end of it. Like, we might just go into like team up mode. We're just going to do team up movies. Like, every movie's going to be Thor Ragnarok. Maybe not in quality, but like in the idea of we're putting two characters together and making an event to try and convince you to come see it. There's rumors of Bruce Banner being in the next Spider-Man movie, and it's like, yeah, because we need to keep putting team ups together to keep people invested. Spider-Man. Yeah. And so that's my concern, is that DC dies and Marvel goes into panic mode, and they're just going to keep making the movies that I've already hated.
And Eternals 2.
And Eternals 2. There was a rumor about Eternals 2, and I'm just like, you can't be serious. They're gonna bring these characters back. I mean, I'm not mad. I don't hate the Eternals. I don't think it was a good movie, but like, they don't need to follow up on that plot line.
No,
but apparently they want to, so that's interesting.
It makes me sad though that now I think it's even less likely we see Shang-Chi too. Did Simu Liu get a chair?
Yeah, he did.
He did?
Yeah.
Okay, so at least we're going to get him more. But I do want Shang-Chi too. I like Shang-Chi. I stuttered, sorry for that. But that movie was like one of the highest grossing movies of 2021.
Yeah.
I know that was a COVID year, but like I want that. We're definitely not going to get that now.
I think it's a possibility because the director of Shang-Chi is doing Spider-Man. So like, I think they might keep him around simply because if Spider-Man does well, they're going to owe him one. And if he wants to make Shang-Chi 2, they'll let him make Shang-Chi 2. We did also get word earlier today at the time of recording that Miss Marvel season 2 is probably not happening. So yeah, like a lot of the new characters, unfortunately, feels like they might not be returning in the capacity we want them to. Because like, when Thunderbolts was at its high, everybody was like, oh, Yelena, she's the MCU's best new character, and she should be the leader of the Avengers, and blah, blah, blah. And now it's like, is she just going to be like what we did to Scarlett Johansson, and Florence Pugh's just going to be in other people's movies or team-up movies because this bombed? And that's the thing that, yeah, that kind of scares me. It's going to keep me up at night.
I feel like, though, that was kind of her movie. Like, that was a Yelena story through and through, to me at least.
Yeah.
So at least she got that. But at the same time, I just want more of her and more of her leading movies. And now this kind of puts a dash on any hopes I have for like the new Avengers. Like, I really want a sequel. I really want to see this team more. I know we're going to see him in Doomsday and Secret Wars, but after that, I don't know. I don't really want to see him be like supporting characters. I love that team. And yeah.
Doomsday, I just hope they're not jobbers, you know? Like, I hope they don't come in Doomsday and get their teeth kicked in, or they kill Bob, right, to show of power. I don't want the Russos to do what they did to the Hulk in Infinity War.
You're taking notes right now, Mike.
I know. Because the script's not finished, because of course it's not. So they're still taking notes on what I'm saying now. But like in Infinity War, the show of power of Thanos was to like have him decimate Bruce Banner. And like he beat the Hulk without the Infinity Gauntlet. This is how powerful Thanos is. And it's like, I don't need you to do that to the Sentry, to Void, right? Like, I feel like they're setting this team up to fail a little bit. That's just what I'm going off of the chairs. Like these guys are gonna lose. And that's when we do Secret Wars and the multiverse Avengers show up with Hugh Jackman and Tobey Maguire and all that other stuff that I just don't want the Thunderbolts. I don't want that to be the end of this team.
Yeah.
You know, I would like us. Hopefully, again, all of us are going to change our tune when Fantastic Four comes out and makes like 800 mil or whatever it's going to do at the box office. But the Thunderbolts, it's scary. It's kind of like we talk about with these other studios, like, oh, they're gonna make less original films because they bombed. Well, it's like Marvel's gonna be less risky with their superhero movies because this movie bombed, but we shall see. We've got to get back to the present day though and talk about what's out this weekend. First movie on the list, Nate.
It is a remake, a live action remake that is not from Disney. It is How to Train Your Dragon, which I know you love those original 3 movies. And this has Dean Blah returning. He directed the original 3 and he's adapting it into live action. I saw it about a week and a half ago. I texted you right after, and they said that is literally the same exact movie, beat for beat. But I was like, but it's good. Like, well made.
Yeah, I saw it last night, time of this recording. It is the same movie. Therefore, it's a very good movie. Yeah. Like, I love the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy, you're right. And so this being basically shot for shot, you can't mess it up. But I will say the pacing is a little weird in like the first act because, and I've said this before, the pacing in animated films is a lot more forgiving than the pacing in live action films. And so it's like we're burning through so much. It's like we need to breathe a little bit, guys. Take a second, time out. And it feels a little disjointed in that way. One of my go-tos is The Lion King when I talk about pacing, and The Lion King is such a fast-paced movie, but you don't feel it in the original film. Like, Simba is born, we meet Mufasa, and Mufasa dies in like the first 30 minutes of that movie. But if you try to do something like that in live action, it just would feel like so abrupt. Like Mufasa's so iconic in that film, and he's barely there. How to Train Your Dragon's kind of a similar way where the animated movie can move a little bit quicker. This one felt a little uneasy at the start, but once we get like halfway through, it's still magic.
Yeah. The next movie that is out in theaters this weekend was the movie I was referring to that has height reduction surgery as a plot line. It is Materialists, which is the new movie from Academy Award nominee Celine Song. It is her sophomore feature after Past Lives, which was incredible. This is a rom-com, but not a lot of com, some more rom-dram. It's being marketed as a rom-com, but it's not. It's with Dakota Johnson, okay, Chris Evans, and what I hear is like a great performance from him. Like, even the people who didn't like this movie, they're like, guys, Chris Evans is back. Like, the good Chris Evans is back. So shout out to my fellow blonde boy. And Pedro Pascal, who is not only our new Mr. Fantastic, but I guess he's A24's It Boy as well, because he's also in Eddington, the Ari Aster movie coming out next month. And Dakota Johnson plays a professional matchmaker, and things happen, and now she must choose between her really rich new boyfriend, played by Pedro Pascal, and her ex-boyfriend, who still lives with the roommate at 35, played by Chris Evans. I hear it's good. I haven't seen it yet, but the trailers really did not sell me on this.
Trailers are always hard for rom-com, rom-dram type of movies anyway. Like, it's really hard to convey the same level of emotion that you need for those films in like 2 minutes.
Rom-com trailer did sell the movie? Set It Up with Glenn Powell and Zoe Deutsch.
That's valid. Yeah, but like it's so rare, so I get that you didn't vibe with it. I didn't either. But I'm glad to hear that it's good. I'm always a little iffy on some of Dakota Johnson's roles. I think she's hilarious. I just think she needs to pick better stories sometimes, coming off of Madam Web. But Pedro Pascal, it's the year of Pedro. And I love Chris Evans. I want him in more things, so
good things.
I'm down for it.
Huh? You want him in more good things, like, or do you want him in more Red Ones too?
Well, you see, good things. We're gonna go with good things. Okay, did you hear the comment he said this week of like, I feel left out because I'm not on the Avengers set with my buddies, and it's like, sir, don't put that in the ether. We already did the tweet of you being Magneto. Don't say you miss being in Marvel because they're gonna send you the truck of money.
Oh, they will. Yeah. Hopefully this is a good start after a really bumpy post-Endgame career, because like he had Ghosted, Red One, Pain Hustlers. Have you even heard of that movie?
I have. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. He dresses up as a opioid at one point and raps about opioids.
Oh boy.
It's not good.
I think it's interesting that the three leads are all Marvel adjacent actors, which brings us to Life of Chuck.
Yes. This is the best movie, even though I haven't seen material lists yet. This is the best movie opening this weekend. It opened in limited last. It is the new movie from Mike Flanagan, who we were talking about earlier. It is based on a Stephen King short story, and this is a movie that is very unconventional. You hear Stephen King, you hear Mike Flanagan, you're like, oh, this is a horror movie. It is not. The trailers say it's from Stephen King, the legendary author behind The Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile, and Stand By Me. This movie is also not like any of those three movies. It is very hard to explain. It's told in backwards order. So it starts with Act 3, then Act 2, and Act 1. And Tom Hiddleston's Chuck is only in about like 30 minutes of this movie. I can't really say a lot about this movie without giving away a lot of it. So I will say that this is a very, very good movie. It is easily one of my favorite movies of the year. I think it has some excellent performances. I don't think it's a movie for everyone. It is a crowd pleaser if you see it with the right crowd, but it's that right mix between really sentimental and it's a completely different side of Mike Flanagan. I think Flanagan is one of the best horror directors because he can make elevated horror and still make it scary. It's not like the early A24 horror movies like It Comes at Night.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this isn't freaking scary. This is stupid. Like, he can make you scared and have that existential dread. This is a movie about hope, and it's a movie about not fearing death. And that is the message of the movie. It's like, we all know death is going to come to us one day. Don't be afraid of it and just live in your life now and appreciate that. And I cried. I thought Mark Hamill is really, really good. And then I got to look her name up because she has not been in a movie in like over like 2 decades. But Mia Sara, who that name might not sound familiar to you, but have you seen a little movie called Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
Yeah, of course.
She plays Ferris's girlfriend in that movie. And she's in this movie playing the grandmother of the young Chuck.
It's interesting.
And she is like, for an actress who has not done like a movie or a TV show in so long, she's like incredible in this movie. She is excellent. Chiwetel Ejiofor and Karen Gillan are also in the first act of this movie, which Tom Hiddleston is not in, but you'll understand why. And it starts as an apocalypse, as the apocalypse is happening. But it's not big and special effects heavy. We hear about the stuff. We have a cameo from David Dastmalchian, Polka Dot Man, where he is a parent at a parent-teacher conference telling Chiwetel Ejiofor, Pornhub is down, man.
This sounds like our actual apocalypse. I hate it.
I know, but there's some humor in there. It's not really a comedy though, but yeah, I highly recommend it. It's really good. And then the last movie opening this week that I just watched today that I had no interest in seeing until I heard it was really good is this action comedy called Deep Cover. This is with Bryce Dallas Howard, Orlando Bloom, and Nick Muhammad from Ted Lasso, who played Nate. Sean Bean is also in it. Patty Considine from House of the Dragon. And who was the last one? Ian McShane from the John Wick franchise and Deadwood.
Great cast.
I know. Robert would yell at me probably if I forgot about Deadwood, so I had to drop Deadwood in there. I don't know if you've seen that show. It seems like something He's like,
Yeah.
that shows my shit. But anyway, this is also produced and co-written by Colin Trevorrow, the director of Jurassic World and Jurassic World Dominion. So I was just like, he didn't direct it. He like just wrote and produced it. So I'm like, this is going to suck. Heard it was good, really good, including from a colleague of ours, Jake Hodges. He had seen it. He had rated it on Letterboxd, and I was like, okay, maybe I should actually give this a shot. And I watched it today. This movie's really, really funny. So the plot is Bryce Dallas Howard is this improv comedy teacher, and she takes two of her new students are a very socially awkward like businessman played by Nick Mohammed who needs confidence, and then this very pretentious but struggling actor played by Orlando Bloom who takes everything seriously. And they're hired by the police to go undercover and pose as criminals to infiltrate this drug ring led by Ian McShane and Patty Considine. And it is absolutely hilarious. And Orlando Bloom, like, he hasn't been in like a whole lot of big things since Pirates and Lord of the Rings. He's done like a couple of things. He needs to do more comedies. Like, he is hysterical in this movie. Like, almost every line that comes out of his mouth is incredible. So I highly recommend this movie. It is, don't go in with like super high expectations or anything. It's not a game changer, but it is a very good time.
You telling the plot of this movie already has me in. It's like, this is the type of comedy that I would totally dig, because it's just so ridiculous. It's like, I love it when we have a somewhat simple premise and it's just like the escalation of events of like, oh, somehow we put them in this scenario where it's just these actors, but now they fall into the wrong crowd and they're having to do XYZ. Like, that's the type of humor that I enjoy a lot, where it's like, oh, just by the time you get to the end of the movie, you're like, it's crazy how we got here. And the actors are great. I'm glad you said that the script was good, because no offense, Colin, but your resume scares us off a little bit. Right. But yeah, I'm glad. I'm definitely gonna check it out. Where can we watch it again?
It's on Amazon Prime Video. So yeah.
Sick. Awesome.
Don't mind the ads on movies. Screw you, Amazon. I hate you for that. Not even Peacock does that. That's another story, though.
Ads have gotten so bad. Well, they're getting worse and worse. But guys, if you enjoy this video, give us a like, subscribe. We're going to be here next week. Also, it's the summer of Superman, and the Chatter After is doing so many Superman videos. We're doing Superman vs. the Elite, which I already said. If you're watching this the day it comes out, come to the live stream tonight. Also, we're doing a retrospective series. We just talked about Superman the movie and Christopher Reeve's take on the character. This week, now that you're watching it, this Friday, we're going to have a video on Superman Returns. So check that out. I had to give thoughts on Bryan Singer's attempt to make Superman 3, because we're ignoring Superman 3 and 4 with that. It's the whole thing. So if you like Superman, check out those videos. Nate and I are going to be back next week recapping more movie news. Nate, where can the fine folks find you?
You can find me across most social media platforms at Nate Knows Movies, as you can see in my little box right there. But on Letterboxd, you can just find me at Nate Richard or Nate Richard 98, and that's the same on Instagram and Threads. It's Nate Richard 98.
Awesome. You guys can find me at Novice Cinephile everywhere except for Instagram and Threads, where it's The Novice Cinephile, and we will see you guys next time. Remember, keep watching movies.
And a roast goose for everyone.
God bless us, everyone.